Well, welcome to the channel with Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. Alone is an illusion. Easy to say, isn't it? But many of you have been put into situations where you've opted to choose to be alone to the exclusion of a relationship that was still functioning. And you've decided to leave the relationship with as much of yourself as you could. And there's many reasons why people come to these decisions. Some are legit, some are not so legit, some are unselfish, some are selfish, but in a lot of cases you find yourself crushed into the concrete, as it were, mentally, when you get to the point that you want to get out. Now, there's stacks and stacks of reasons why you can come to this place, and I don't think anybody sets out in a relationship to want to end up on their own. That's not what a relationship's all about. But fallen human nature and the way that it is, not all things go as planned, particularly in relationships, and that's just something that we need to accept and not be grievous about at the end of it, depending, of course, on what brought about the decision to be alone. Relationships are something that a lot of people are removing themselves from now. There's a lot of underdevelopment in people's psyche and mentality now. People are covert, cunning and deceitful. I don't recommend going on the dating sites, but it's up to you if you want to do that. It's like standing in front of a herd of elephants, and you know they're coming down the dirt road, and you're told not to jump in front of the herd, and you do, and guess what's going to happen? I'll let you work that out. But the unpredictableness of these places is becoming more and more exposed to the damage that's being done via these platforms, because people on the platforms in many cases have underlying issues. They're on there for a reason, either for sex or for some kind of gain. A lot of them don't want a relationship. They've come out of relationships that have consumed their time, or they've consumed somebody else's time, and it's run its course for what it was. And a lot of these people can allow years and years of their lives to be wasted trying to navigate themselves and somebody else who is completely unable to bring peace and happiness into a normal interrelational relationship which produces power and success and peace and harmony for each other. In all honesty, I know some people are just not going to want to be on their own. I've had these people in my life, and it's never worked out the way that it should have, because when somebody says they can't be on their own and they're with you and they get into that state where they feel on their own, guess what they're going to do? Well, they're going to blame you for them feeling alone. So then the next step is to find somebody that's not going to make them feel alone. And they go bounce, bounce, bounce. They leave their trail of destruction behind them. And they're really just serial users. I've seen happily married women, well, apparently supposed to be happily married women, with wonderful husbands sitting there saying they feel alone in front of the man. I would do my block if somebody sat there and that I was with, and I was working in the relationship, and they sat there and said, I feel alone. I'd say, well, here, you be alone, I'm out. That's how self-centered some of these people really are. They'll offend you, they'll assault you, they'll insult you mentally, they'll psychologically assault and villainize you. And you're supposed to be having a relationship with these people. They'll go and hide and drink. There's functioning alcoholics and drug addicts right throughout our societies and communities now that you wouldn't even know. That's why they breath test and drug test and all the rest of it, because these people are dangerous behind the wheel. And they're dangerous within the relationship. You are not going to get the whole person. You're only going to get part of the person. And if you're happy with that, good luck to you. That's why a lot of these people have pets, because they know they're going to let the humans down. But the pets ain't going anywhere, are they? It's all, it's all a big mess of selfishness and limited thinking, and doesn't matter what you do. And the thing is, when you're trying to run your partner relationship, these people will suck it up. But then when they're not interested in it, they'll retreat back to where their habits and securities are. And that's your sign that this is not a true emotional connection. You're just a source and supply of a part of something that they need in their life. The rest of their life, you ain't a part of. And that will be exposed eventually, and you'll have to make a choice. But if you're codependent and you can't be alone, guess what? You'll put up with the abuse, the psychological weaponry that these people know, right? They know how to use it against you. They'll push you and push you until you give in. They're ready for the discard because they've got their habits and shit to fall back on. That's why they're risking it. They don't care. They got on all right before you were there, and they'll get on all right after you're gone. Believe it. Karma's a bitch. Don't worry about that. If people are doing the wrong thing by themselves, and that's rippling through to their relationships, and don't worry, they're gonna that pattern of behaviour will not change, and that form of abuse will not change, and time will run out, and they'll be old and had it and never accomplished anything in life because they didn't play an integral part in life. They just ran around blaming everybody else for their problems, and that was it. But life will catch up with you. It does. And it's just the way it is. And you have to stay on point. You have to stay on your game. If you've really played your part, a proper part, you've kept up the resolve and tried to work with that person, and they haven't done theirs, that's on them. Have no conscience. Know how relationships work. Know how people work. There are lazy people that'll credit themselves to being, playing a proper part. And they know they haven't. They know when they're sitting there slurping on their drink or sucking on their drugs that they haven't played a proper part. And they try and demasculate you, but they can't. Their children can't. The woman can't. The exes can't. And you just sit and watch and you just go, oh my God, like honestly? Alone is an illusion. It's an absolute, complete illusion. One of the famous coaches, Tim Sheens, in the NRL Australia, he's actually come back to train the West Tigers, Tim Sheens. One of his famous quotes was, size is an illusion. He used to say to the players, don't worry about size. Size is an illusion. I'm saying to you today, alone is an illusion. The Lord Jesus Christ, God himself used to go and sit alone. There was no such thing as alone. He was physically alone, but spiritually he wasn't. And you can be spiritually present. You see, drugs and alcohol and all this stuff, that's stopping these people from feeling alone. You don't need all that not to feel alone. You can have hobbies, you can have other things that'll help you not to feel alone. Rest, knowing that your day's been done and you can just rest without stress and worry because you got things in order. A lot of these people will never have their lives in order. They're wasting their money on their substances and the people that they're supplying and the hangers-on, and they ain't never going to have peace. They'll just battle on with what they've got. You saw it. You were with them. You were there. It ain't changing. It stays the way that it is. If anything, it gets worse as they get older. We've all got limited time. I'm nearly 60 and I've met women that are 50 and I'm in 10 times better health than what they are. And they know it. Be an asset, don't be a loss. And if people want to lose, let them go and lose. The majority will. You've got to think of yourself and be as honest and integral as you can. This is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, Theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Bye for now.